Chapter 3 Sunhee. That night in bed, my thoughts were racing around in circles. I was remembering something that happened when I was only 6 years old. 4 years ago, the Olympics took place in Europe. It was so exciting. My family crowded around the radio each night to hear about the competitions. Taeyul and the other older boys made hurdles in the lane. My friend Tomo and I ran races with each other. We threw long sticks and pretended they were javelins. We even built an Olympic stadium. Building cities was our favorite activity. In the vacant lots down the lane from my house, we'd gather up stones, sticks, little bits of wood. We used them to build cities, houses, schools, shops, a marketplace, a temple, army barracks. Sometimes we built a train station and tracks too. We used long sticks for the rails and broke other sticks into shorter lengths to make the crosspieces. We always had long discussions as we designed and planned our cities. Sometimes we'd build for days and then stop, take everything apart, and start over again. I remember the stadium especially well. It was so different, oval instead of square. We'd heard about it on the radio, its strange shape and how big it was. The stadium had been one of our greatest successes. For days, we had races inside it, using little stick people as runners. On the last day of the Olympics, we all gathered as usual to listen to the radio. And as usual, Uncle translated the announcer's words for 어머니. 어머니 knew a little Japanese, but not enough to understand the broadcast. She could speak only Korean because she'd never gone to school. Back in the days when she was growing up, most girls didn't go to school. The rest of us knew Japanese. Taeyul had learned in school, like 아버지 and uncle. At the time, I wasn't old enough for school, but I'd learned to speak and understand it from my friend Tomo. We'd been friends since we were babies. Because of the way Uncle translated, I was glad I could understand Japanese. The announcer described the scene, the noise of the crowd, the colors of the athletes' uniforms, and how they were lined up on the track. But Uncle would just say something like, "The 100-meter race is beginning." He never translated the details, but 어머니 didn't seem to mind. Now, Uncle listened to the announcer for a few moments, then turned to 어머니. He said, instead of a baton, "The French relay team will be passing one of those long loaves of bread." Of course, the announcer never said any such thing. Uncle was making it up. Taeyul snorted, and I hid a smile behind my hand. 어머니 rolled her eyes doubtfully. No, it's true," Uncle insisted. "It's a national symbol for them. They obtained special permission from the Olympic Committee to use it. The committee said yes, but each time a runner receives a handoff, he must take a bite of the bread." He acted it out for her, pretending to receive a bread baton and then taking a bite of it while running. Taeyul and I laughed. Even 아버지 smiled. 어머니 covered her face in embarrassment at being teased, but I could see that behind her hands, she was smiling. After the relay, the broadcaster announced that the marathon runners would be entering the stadium soon. Uncle looked at us excitedly. "There's a Korean runner in the marathon," he said. "He's one of the best in the world. He has a very good chance at the gold medal." We leaned a little closer to the radio. "The first runners should be entering the stadium at any moment now. They will make their way through the entrance tunnel and emerge onto the stadium track for a final lap. In a moment or two, we should be able to see the leader. There he is now. It's Kitae-san of Japan." Uncle reached for the dial and turned it off abruptly, then slammed his hand against the radio so hard that he knocked it over. I stared at him with my mouth open. Everybody sat there, frozen. Uncle jumped to his feet, his fists clenched by his sides. I'd never seen him like that before. "Kitae-san," he said, his voice trembling with rage. He spat on the floor as if the name tasted bad. He choked out, "That is not his name." And with that, he left the room. I looked at 아버지 and 어머니. Their faces were very serious. I waited, hoping one of them would explain. But when 어머니 finally spoke, it was only to tell us to get ready for bed. 아버지 said nothing at all. Nobody explained why uncle was so angry. I went to bed feeling cross and worried. The next morning, Taeyul waved at me to come out to the back garden. He looked solemn and important, the way he always did when he knew something I didn't. Uncle talked to me, he said in a low voice. The man who won the marathon, Ki Tae-son, he's the Korean runner Uncle was talking about. His real name is Son Gi-tong. So, why did that make Uncle angry? Taeyul shook his head impatiently. Sonny, don't you understand? People all over the world know about the Olympics. He'll be in all the newspapers. That's good, isn't it? He'll be famous. He was wearing the Japanese flag on his uniform. The newspapers will give his Japanese name. No one will know he's Korean. They'll all think he's Japanese. This is what I was remembering the night we all chose our new names. New for us, but the Japanese had renamed people before. I only meant to remember that much. The part about Song Gi-jung's Japanese name, but remembering isn't something you can't stop doing just because you want to. My mind kept going even though I tried to turn it on to another path. I saw Uncle's face floating above me in the darkness, covered with bruises, his lips split and bleeding. It's alright, I told myself firmly. He's all better now.